Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you with this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai by Shem Rakah Quadash. And I'm going to entitle this Romans, the 13th chapter, and the government authorities. There was something in the news within the last couple of days concerning during the Trump administration, where you have these refugees, you can say, that are trying to get into the country. And what this administration is doing is separating the parents or the mothers from the children. So the mothers or the parents might be in one state and the children might be 1,000 miles or more away in another state. And, the press has criticized this administration for doing that. So the government, the Trump administration, you have Jeff Sessions, and this is an article, and I'm going to leave this article, I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you can read it, the whole thing. It says, Jeff Sessions cherry-picked a Bible passage to defend Trump's immigration policy. Here's why he's wrong. Now, you have a lot of pastors, Edomite pastors, in this country that are basically saying that they're going off by using the scripture. And by the way, when they push the when they make the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, mandatory, don't be surprised if they use this scripture. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to go okay, I'm just going to go to this, what is the second paragraph. And like I said, you can read the whole article, but I just wanted to make this as brief as possible. Anyway, it says, in a speech to a small audience in Indiana on Thursday, Jeff Sessions, which is Jeff Sessions, pushed back against his critics. And these critics are mostly pastors. And you're going to find out when all hell breaks loose and they push the mark of the beast, which is the microchip. You have a lot of Edomites out there, which some of them could be Jakes, that are pastors and ministers that actually know the scriptures. And it's going to be a big mess when they actually go to attempt to push the mark of the beast. There's going to be a lot of protests. And like I said, these pastors and these ministers of these Christian groups, these Christian churches, they're going to come out and they're going to say, look, this is against the scriptures. And then the government's going to come back and say, well, look, you have to obey the government pursuant to Romans, the Romans, the 13th chapter. Anyway, let me keep reading. It says, in a speech to a small audience in Indiana on Thursday, Sessions pushed back against his critics, his Christian critics, with an extraordinary defense, the Bible. He argued supports the Trump administration approach to immigration enforcement. Persons who violate the law of our nation are subject to persecution. And I'm gonna show you that they don't know the scriptures. This guy Jeff Sessions doesn't understand the scriptures. I would cite you to the Apostle Paul and his clear and wise command in Romans the 13th chapter to obey the laws of the government, because the Most High has ordained the government for this purpose. And like I said, they're going to use this to push the mark of the beast, which is the micro. I keep saying that, which is the microchip, all right? Because you have Israelite groups saying that it's not the microchip. You're going to find out it is the microchip. Anyway, so let's go to Romans 13:1. It says, "Let every soul be subject to the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the powers." The powers that be, Esau was set up. The Most High put Esau in the power seat, just like at one time you had the Egyptians, which are the people of Mizraim, and then you had the Babylonians, and then you had many other nations that had rule over the children of Israel. I mean, you have the story of Daniel and the other three brothers. Their Babylonian names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But when you read the scriptures, it gives you their actual Hebrew names. Because even Daniel had a Babylonian name. He was given a Babylonian name. Anyway, it says, the powers that be are ordained of the Most High. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High. So they're trying, this guy, Jeff Sessions, is trying to say that anything the government says do, any laws that are passed, you have to obey them. And that's in accordance with the scriptures. That is what he's saying. So that means when they push the mark of the beast, when they make that mandatory, you have to accept it, because the government passed a law saying you have to get this chip. Well, then but then the Most High said don't take the chip, pursuant to Revelation the 13th chapter. And like I said, all hell is going to break loose. All these little skirmishes going on around the world, the situation with DJ Trump, with the North Korean leader, the situation over there in the Middle East, all these things taking place. Look, what you to look for is when they actually make that microchip, they make it mandatory to receive that chip. Let me read the second verse again. "Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation," meaning that the government is going to come against you, which they're going to do that anyway. When you read Revelation 13 verses 15 on down, it says, "For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil." And they're going to say that taking that chip is going to be a good thing. "But to the evil, will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good." And they're going to say, which means to take the chip, because it's a law. And basically, when they pass laws to enslave Jake, they're saying, well, the government said it's all right, so they're not going to be punished for enslaving Jake. This is how this snake operates. "And thou shalt have praise of the same." So now let's go back to the second verse. It says, "Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation." The word for resist is
Strong's G 498, antitasso. Antitasso.
antitasso, which means to range in battle against, to oppose oneself, resist. The first definition hits home, to range in battle against, meaning to try to come against the government as far as like a revolution is concerned. So that's what Paul was saying. And ultimately what happened was the Israelites, about, let's say 30 years later, 30 years and change, they went against the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire during the time of Titus and Vespasian, and we always speak about that, came in to take down Israel, so they revolted. But what the Apostle Paul was saying, don't gather any groups together to physically take this man down, because the Most High put Esau in power. In the case of the Apostle Paul, put the Romans in power. So this has nothing to do with, it says in the second verse again, where whosoever therefore resisteth the power, means to come against the power, to bring it down, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, because the Most High set this power up. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. Okay, 2 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter, 3rd verse. And you should read this whole chapter. Read it from the top. Read the whole chapter. It says, but the key point is it starts at the 3rd verse. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Perdition meaning destruction. The falling away took place during the time of when the Vespasian dynasty came in and took down Israel. The Israelites that were in Jerusalem, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship, because in this country, they call this a Christian-based country. So the majority of the people in this country, they believe in in a God. They believe in his son, which they call Jesus, but they're all white. Anything that has to do with the Most High, in their mind, that the Most High is a so-called white man, his son is a so-called white man, the angels are white, all the saints, Moses and all the great prophets and all the great saints of Israel are Edomites, are white, all right? Which, that's a complete lie, as we know. It says, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. There's a painting, was that Leonardo da Vinci, I believe he drew it, painted the painting, the Sistine Chapel, if I'm not mistaken. It was either him or Michelangelo. Anyway, it says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you of these things. And now ye know that what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. Because back then, they didn't look at the Romans and say, oh, those are Edomites, or that's the devil. They just knew that there was a power that was over them. Because even the Romans didn't know and understand that they were the Edomites. Because they referred to the Herodian dynasty. They said those are Edomites, and they look somewhat like the Romans. But now when you go into the history, those that Herodian dynasty, they look more like Jake. Because remember, Antipater had married into the line of the Maccabees. So the children that they had, Herod the Great and his sons and daughters, they came out looking like Israelites. That's why Yahushua in Matthew's 13th chapter spoke about the wheat and the tares, because you had Edomites that looked like Israelites. It said, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. What is Paul saying? The devil is in power. And that was the Romans. So Paul knew and understood that. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So Esau was taken out of the way for a time, Revelation, the 20th chapter, and then he came back into power after 1,000 years, also in Revelation, the 20th chapter. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. And that's what's happening now as we go out and teach this word. That's why it's so important to push this word. That's why the Most High said, Yahweh set up this way, that we should go out on the highways and the byways, that we should do these sit-downs, that we should push this word, that the scriptures say, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. And us going on YouTube and putting up these videos, and then you have other Israelite groups that are pushing Israel, that we the Israelites, this then changed the whole way people think. You know how many Edomites have come across these videos? And this is and don't think for a minute that the government doesn't know about us. The government knows about us. The elite knows about us. Hell, they watch all our videos. It says, 8th verse, and then shall that wicked be revealed. And he's being revealed. And we go out there and you know, we set up on the corners and we film everything. What made this thing blow up is really the internet. That's why Jay Rockefeller said the internet should have never been invented. In other words, the internet should have never been given to the masses of the people. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. So he's being consumed with the spirit of the Most High's mouth, because what does it say in Matthews? It's not us that speak, but the Father speaketh through us. So Esau's losing sleep over the fact that we're reading out of the scriptures. And in their mind, they're saying, we got to do something about these people. What the hell are we doing? All we're doing is reading out of the Bible. We're reading out of what you call a good book. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So now you're being sentences being brought against you, and then you're gonna the judgment is gonna come after that. The actual physical judgment, which the Most High is gonna Yahushua is gonna come with the angels and destroy this place, and the Most High is gonna put the spirit on these nations that have missiles to shoot missiles on this place. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. You have a lot of Israelites out there that don't accept being Israel, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they may believe a lie. Because you have a lot of jakes that are, they're going to continue to go to these churches. They're going to continue to teach a so-called white Jesus. They're going to continually teach that the kingdom is open for every nation, which proves that they don't know the scriptures. Then you have our people in Islam, the Moors, the Black Consciousness movement, and many other things. And you have jakes that just love this system, jakes that are in the military and so forth. So, you know, the main prophecy that we should look for before the destruction and the deliverance of the elect of Israel is when they actually push that chip. And like I said, they're going to use the Bible to justify the fact that they can chip people. And the mark of the beast is the microchip system. So fear the microchip. Another thing, before I close, when they actually make this microchip or the mark of the beast mandatory, a lot of these different Israelite groups that believe that the mark of the beast is Christianity and an embargo, they're gonna have to make a decision as to what they're gonna do. And a lot of them are gonna scramble. A lot of them are gonna leave the camps that they're in. And a lot of them, don't be surprised if they flock to GreatMillStone, because we are the group, and we've been saying this for years, that have 100%, that possess 100% truth. Just like the Most High said in Ezekiel 3rd chapter, eat this roll and go and teach the children of Israel. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.